Hello, precious people. I'm Jacqueline Parks. Welcome to my studio, Stampin' Turtles. And today we are going to start a new month, which is December 1st. And it's the start of Advent. And I'm a Christian. I believe in Jesus. And I thought it would be great to do the journey of Christ's birth and the anticipation that the Jewish people had for him being in their lives. So, like coming to earth. And we're kind of, as Christians, waiting for him to return again. So that is funny because we could think about the similarities and the signs and the wonders of the whole season that we're in right now, and the anticipation we have for that hope that we have in Jesus. So let's get started. I wanted to make sure I was live, and I am. If you guys want to say hi in the chat, you may. Right now, I'm going to switch us to my table, and I do have a sketch book that I'm going to use. I'm going to be going every day this month up until Christmas Day. I'm going to paint something new for you. So just because I'm going today and painting something doesn't mean there won't be something tomorrow and the next day and the next day. So I've already kind of sketched out what I wanted for this 2-page layout in my sketchbook, but every day I will do something new for you. I don't know if it'll be a 2-page layout or if it'll just be 1 page. It's a brand new sketchbook, kind of brand new. My daughter started it, but she didn't ever do anything with it. So the first page has something on it, but that's okay. So it's a wonderful it'll be a wonderful keepsake someday for that. I did remember to bring my paints back from the studio. If you didn't know, I leave them there a lot of times and I forget to bring them. So we're gonna have that, which I didn't refill my sap green, but if you saw any of my recent reels, you know I can mix a green. That might be better, and I'm not even sure if there's gonna be a green on this page, to be honest with you. I do like this size brush. I do like a nice big brush for things. We probably will do some pen, line, and wash. So I do actually wash and line instead of line and wash because my gel pen is not waterproof, so it bleeds. Sometimes the effect is great for that. Sometimes it's not so great when you try to paint over it again. I may have some little tiny brush too. May have a little bit of white gel pen. We don't know. We'll see what happens, right? And if you want to know, kind of the Old Testament does talk a lot about Jesus. There's a lot of prophecy about his birth, about it being to a virgin. And that was Isaiah 7:14. But I kind of wanted to read to you Isaiah 9:6 later. So if you stick around, you'll get to hear that. And it's wonderful how the Bible just keeps giving us information about Jesus. And I believe the word is alive. I believe if you read it for yourself, ask God to reveal himself to you. If you're not a believer, just do that and say, Lord, reveal yourself to me if you're real. And I believe he will. If you're earnestly seeking him to reveal himself to you. I think some people just don't want to believe, but how could you not want to believe in Jesus? I mean, it's just one of those things that gives me hope and peace, and I hope that it gives you hope and peace. So right now I have my not so clean water on my desk, which is wonderful. I always have not so clean water. I already did a sketch. I don't think you can see it, but I'm not sure if it's going to be super realistic baby Jesus. There's a little lamb and a Bethlehem in the background, and then I'm going to do some wording, which I'm not always so great with my penmanship, but I'm going to try. I will try. All right, so with watercolor, you can approach things in many different ways. I told my class yesterday that you can start with background and then paint the foreground and the subject matter, Or you can do the subject matter and then the background. There's so many different ways to go about this. So I'm actually going to go by wetting the background. I'm trying to avoid my 3 angels that I painted in the sky. But this is going to be a night sky, so we'll have maybe some flicks of white Indian ink in there. I don't know yet how I'm going to bring it about. You can put salt. Maybe I'll put the salt technique on here, since we also have been experimenting with the salt lately. And it's just kind of fun to watch it evolve. Although it's a slow process when that salt is doing its thing. It's very slow, but it's okay. I don't know if you guys can see how wet I've made my paper. It's very important that you have wet paper. And this book is not the best of paper, but it's okay. I like it enough for painting small little things. And who knows, if these paintings do turn out pretty good, I may end up making prints of them and selling them. We'll see. So I'm going around just making sure everything is wet and shiny on the sky. Because if you're not using enough water, it's not going to flow. You need it to flow. So I am checking to see how wet this is, and I can see quite a bit of shine. So now I'm going to go in with my navy blue. We're just going to jab, jab, jab. This is a nice color, and I am going around those letters, but that's okay. And another thing, you might want to add just a titch of some other blues just to bring out a little bit of a fun mixture on the paper. So if you haven't ever tried that before, it's always fun, always fun. Let me see if I can do up close so you can see what I'm doing. So I'm just dropping in. See how it's really wet? It's really flowing. Where you know, it may flow where I don't want it to, but that's the fun of watercolors. You kind of don't know what's going to happen until it happens. But it's fun. That's what I love about it. It's a fun medium. If you've never tried it before, I really recommend just getting some cheaper sets of paint and trying it out. So we're getting the sky going, and it's looking pretty good. There's going to be kind of like a star in that section right there. The cool thing about this is that you can kind of see how light it is. With watercolor, you're always going to layer. I want to layer it, but I'm liking how it's doing some weird color manipulation. I can even tip it. If you tip it, sometimes it flows. And I see it's already drying. Like, you guys would be like, that doesn't look dry to me. But to me, it's already getting drier. And it was. And so now I'm going to try and mix a little bit of brown. Let me show you what I'm working on over here with my palette. So sometimes people don't show their palette work over here, but I like to. And let's see. Someone just texted me, but hopefully they can wait. I'm mixing in some of this green that is not already gone, and I think that's verdant green. I like sap green. That's my favorite, but it's always gone. Need to squeeze some more sap green into there. But you can always mix blue and yellow to make green. I just think sap green is so much faster, so much easier. All right, so now I'm going to just very lightly put this, I'm going to put this on the hills. The hills are alive. The sound of music. Let's see. And the fun thing about watercolor is you can go in there with just a very light wash to get your color down. I've started doing some mixed media where I'm treating it like a mixed media, or just, like a watercolor in a way. I don't know if that's going to be green, maybe. And see how pale this is? You guys can't even see it. It's so pale. So pale you can't even see it, probably. I'll pick it up and show you. See how it's just tinged slightly? That's to knock out that white just a little bit and get some texture starting. And what I might end up doing is putting a little bit of my, oh, is that too yellow? It's okay if you mess up, you guys. You can always go back in and move it around with some new colors. But that's kind of fun. I'm going to make some shadows under there, so I don't want to be too detailed yet, because I know where I'm going to be putting some stuff. And I don't want it to be dark in there. I want it to still kind of be kind of light colors for now. And that's going to be Bethlehem in there. It may end up with my Payne's Gray, which is my favorite. Let me put it over here. So Payne's Gray, I may end up just putting some right now underneath. And maybe a little bit there. And then this is kind of the manger. And let's see. Might put some more to bring out that lamb. Put some Payne's Gray in there. And see how it's kind of feathering and bleeding in there? It's kind of moving around still because it's very wet and shiny. So if your paper's shiny, it's still really wet. That's good. It's a good sign. Just going to add a little bit more of the darker stuff in there. And I think I like that so far. Now I'm going to have to switch brushes. So, and I also need to have paper towels. If you don't have paper towels in your hand, you are not really painting. But if you are watching, let me know you're there. Give me a like or some hearts in the chat. Some hearts that go up are really fun. This is the pen I'll be using later. I'm going to switch to, I'm not sure if that's a size 6 round. All the numbers rubbed off, which irritates a little bit, but that's okay. So now I'm going in with this yellow ochre. So I like how this is looking for the hay that's in the manger that little baby Jesus is in. And so I'm just kind of going around what I've already sketched. And you know me, I don't like a lot of harsh edges, so I'll probably soften some of these edges and blend them in with his little cloth. And there's a fun fact about what Jesus was wrapped in was what they used to wrap the lambs that they were trying to keep perfect for the Day of Atonement sacrifice. And So that's interesting that they use the same cloth to wrap Jesus in when he was born. I'm just adding some blue in there. Blue is kind of a fun shading color that I like. I'm not sure if I can zoom in on that. Let's see if we can. That's not, well, I have kind of zoomed in already. So I guess that's good enough. It's zoomed in enough. Skin color, if you have not made skin color, I like to use, I'll bring my little palette here. I like to use a little bit of yellow, a little bit of like a lighter orange, a little bit of red, a little bit of burnt sienna, which is almost out. See, I run out of these things all the time. So see, this color is too red. It's too red. But you add a little bit of Payne's Gray or a little bit of blue if you don't have Payne's Gray. And then now it's kind of dark, which I'm not sure if I like that. I have to bring some more yellow back in. And when you're mixing your colors, and I'm thinking about doing a workshop, like an intensive kind of a 4-hour long workshop for y'all if you're interested. I know it's been a while since I've done one, and it's really fun. I might have to charge a little more because I think it was not enough for the lunch that I also provided for everybody. So I'm looking at this color and I'm seeing that it's kind of dark, and this baby has not been outside in the daylight yet. So let's add a little pink. Well, not pink, but red. And so now I've got this good color. I think this is good, but it's just really thick. So what I like to do is I rinse my brush and I just pick up a little bit of paint because it's real watery now. See how watery? Well, it's not that watery. So I may end up making it a little more watery, but let's see what happens. And it's super pale. I can let the water kind of go where the cheeks are. It's so pale, y'all, but I can see it because I'm right on it. See that? So we'll just let that dry. That's probably a good tone, good color. Maybe put a little bit more there. And I'll probably do a little bit dark for the hair. I don't know if Jesus had hair. There's an old wives' tale that if you have a lot of heartburn, that the baby will have a lot of hair. So we don't know if Mary did have a lot of hair. I mean, a lot of heartburn. So now I'm gonna just do some yellows for these angels. And the reason I'm doing yellow is because it's gonna be brighter. And even if something is white, I always start with this yellow, you know, like if it's stars and stuff. Over there's a star. I put some little halo looking things up there. So now to soften that, you guys, I just rinse my brush and see, these are already pale, but I'm lifting just to make them even more pale. So they're enough of a color in there that'll be kind of neat. And then this one, star right here, might put, that was too dark. So what I do is I'll just wiggle out that and see how I lightened it. I can even go back if I want to make that more. And the gel pen can make it, the white come back out. So that's kind of nice. That's kind of nice right there. So this roof over here should be dark brown maybe. What do you think? A dark brown. And a lot of times I have to be quiet while I concentrate on things like this. But so far I haven't had to. And the lamb, you know what, I'm just going to go like that, and we'll go back in with some Payne's Gray. Because I want it to be kind of dark inside there. And you'll start to learn as you practice with this how your colors will start to mix on the paper and do kind of fun things like that. Because like this is already kind of moving around, but it's not going to probably stay like that. It's probably going to keep mixing a little bit. I may go in and do some of this. Ooh, wow, that's some dark paint. I think that's Mars black. I don't know. Did something to me. Something there. Let's see. I'll do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Because I want a dark brown. So what I'm doing is I'm mixing this black that was there. I think it was Mars black or lamp, maybe lamp black. So that's darker than Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is more blue. But look at how I just put a little bit of that black and some of the brown, and we got some darker brown. So I'm going to go ahead and make these little buildings in the background. And I'm just kind of going here and there. Know how many I'm going to do. Maybe I do a couple. But that's kind of, it's very simple city in the background. Very simple. And I'm just going to let it dry like it is. Because this is a little hill right here by the manger. And I may end up doing some darker colors for that sky. I think that'll be nice if I do it. This was the blue. I may go back in here and do a second layer of that blue. And I did put a little bit of this color in there. Just mix it around. It's kind of fun to watch what it does. Oops, this color. And a little bit more. What I love about watercolor is just how soft and pretty it is. Let's see, go around and do some of this. Gotta be careful, that's kind of still wet. And you gotta have water. Gotta have water on your brush and in your paint, or you're not gonna make stuff work. Just do some of that. And I want it to be kind of bright around the angels. I feel like that's important. And I'm just going to make that more cohesive. And some of that. Look at how that's looking. That's pretty. And then we can soften it. And I just rinsed my brush, dabbed it on my paper towel, and I'm softening these edges just a little bit. So now what I want to think about doing here, do I want to add some salt, which I always keep some salt on here. I may do a couple little granules. It may not be working because it may already be too dry. But that's okay. Just put a couple. We'll see if that does anything because I see it It's working a little bit. Here's a little sheepy out here. He's going to be kind of that Payne's gray on the bottom. That's way too much. Way too much. And I'm just going to water it down because that was too much Payne's gray. There we go. And put a little bit under there, and his little ears, and his eyes and nose. He's got some shadow, but he's mostly white. And maybe a little bit more right under his head to make it look a little fluffy. And so that's just a beginning stage for the lamb. It's very soft and not detailed at all. Very loose. That's okay. Now I might go in here with my browns and see what we do to make some more straw looking shapes. Might look good. And this like post right here might be something. You know, sometimes on video it's not easy to get things to look right. That's okay. Might do a little more green just right in there. Maybe some brown. Maybe we'll put some browns and some Payne's gray, because that's looking really pretty. I like how that looks. Add a little more Payne's gray in there just to make it darker. And sometimes you gotta get bold, y'all. Just be bold. I know it's scary sometimes to be bold, but you don't learn what it's gonna do if you don't try. I'm just adding some little dots here and there for that. I could zoom in. Let's see if we can zoom in. I don't know if I can zoom in. Sometimes I can. Sometimes I can zoom in. How's that? So all this is blending. I love how that's looking. It's just pretty. It's so pretty. And here's a tip on some glazing. So I'm just going to take some of this blue and glaze the hillside with it. In this background area. Why? Because I think that'll make it look darker, like nighttime. My salt didn't do nothing, y'all. It just didn't. Which means we have to go back in with some more blue, possibly. Some more blue. Let's see what we've got here. Some more brown. And some more of that black. Let's see what happens. Or we might just go in and do a couple little things. And you might be like, oh, it's kind of bleeding all over the place. I'm like, yeah, it's all right though. It's okay. I can always rinse and lift if I don't like it. So I'm liking how it's kind of loose, kind of bleeding all over. It's looking all right to me. I am going to add some more of this darker blue in here. I think the salt just didn't do what I wanted, which means I go back in and do some and this is how the layers start to make something happen. I don't know if watching people paint in real time is great, but are entertaining. This is the truth of the matter is it takes time. It takes some time to get that. Now here's a trick, and I'll show you a trick if I can get it to be less shiny on there. So it's very wet on here, right? I'm gonna just take some of my water maybe, and instead of doing salt on here, I'm just gonna do some clean-ish water. So that makes these little dots, because the clean water repels the paint. Of course, it's making splatters everywhere. Poor little baby Jesus got splatters now all over him, and so do the angels. But I just kind of clean that up real quick with a little swipe of my brush. And so now that looks kind of speckled. It's kind of hard to see it on camera, but there's a little speckle in there. I like that. I go back in with that skin tone I made and kind of do some cheeks. But they're a little bit too something. Let me just wiggle my brush over them. They're just too stark. That's better. And I might do a little bit of red just for the lips. That looks good. And I think I'm going to use pen to outline. I was going to do a little bit of brown up the hair. Just a little bit of hair. I wish I could zoom in more. Like, why can we not zoom? Zoom in as much as I want. But that's okay. You guys can probably zoom in on your phones. So that's looking really, really good. I like how that's looking. I'm going to need to do these eyes on the sheep a little bit. I'm not even looking at a picture. But, and his nose, mouth. And I might add just a little bit more blue right in here to give some definition and some fur. And like his little hoof right there needs to be darker. That's interesting. Okay. Now in here, I feel like this could be a little darker. Right in here, a shadow. And then some shadowing in this section. And I like to use Payne's Gray as shadowing just because it's kind of a neutral tone. See how that's got a little bit of shadow right there for his chin, and like a little bit rounding on the little thing there, and then up here maybe a little bit of shadow. So see how it's kind of making it 3D? That's what we want. We want some 3D imagery. I'm just gonna go a little darker. And you don't have to go dark, dark, dark right away. You can do it in increments. So that's always good. I'm going bold with some of this because I want you guys to be bold. Sometimes I go too bold and y'all be like, that does not look good. But I think it'll be okay. I think we're going to be okay. But, and you can paint thicker with watercolor than I do. I just like to sometimes do this light because that's how my style is. But really you can be much more thickly painted than I do normally. But yeah, every day I'm gonna try and paint something in this book. So next Monday when we get together, I'll show you what I've done in it, and I'll do a new one live. So that's kind of what I'm gonna try and do. It's like a little series for the Advent. And I love how this watercolor is moving, y'all. It's moving. It's pretty. It's pretty. All right, my sheep is looking okay. I kind of still want this just a little bit darker, but I'm afraid to put too much dark. There we go. A little bit darker right under that chin. There. And you can even put some right in there. This is when you can start doing some detail work. So its little ear might have a little dark in there or a little pink in there. Maybe we'll put a little pink, a little brown. But he is definitely, this little sheep, a lamb, is a symbol of the sacrifice that people had to make to atone for their sins. And so that's why Jesus is such a beautiful story for people to study, because you can get all the rich symbolism from their Old Testament stories and the prophecies and the ways that they had to atone for their sins. And it just really is neat how like the Passover lamb became the greatest gift the world has ever received. And I hope that you guys, if you have any questions, just ask me. I'm available. Instagram, you can message me. I don't know. You can leave me a comment if you need to. I'll answer comments here. And so I don't know what I'm going to be painting every day yet. I don't plan. I'm not a planner. But I do want to start, I think, tomorrow with let's see. I do kind of want to start on tomorrow. I want to start painting where the angel appears to Mary and asks her to be the mother of Jesus. I can't imagine. And they say she was probably, I don't know if she was like 13 or 15. I can't. I think there's different ages that they're saying she might have been, but 15 might have been the consensus, which is pretty young. But I think that's when the girls would be betrothed to someone, and the betrothal would usually be about a year. So like our engagements now, like sometimes they're pretty quick, sometimes they're long, but the tradition was, I think, for a year of the groom going off to build an addition onto the house for his wife that was going to be coming, and they would stay in that room. And so he was off doing that. And of course, Jesus's earthly father, Joseph, was engaged to Mary. And when she became pregnant by the Holy Spirit, she is a virgin. And, he probably didn't believe that, right? Who would? And he was going to divorce her, which you would think, why do you divorce if you're just engaged? That's kind of what they did. And so it was like you were already married when you were engaged to be married. And so he would have divorced her quietly. He didn't want to shame her, but he didn't want to marry someone who was pregnant, obviously. And but an angel appeared to him in a dream and told him to marry her, and that it was through the Holy Spirit. And he believed. Like, how many times do we believe the Lord? Like, I get little, not voices, but sometimes little nudges. And I think to myself, well, maybe it's not. You got to trust those little nudges. And I don't know about you, but sometimes I have some pretty intense dreams, and I need to pay attention to them, right? So here I'm going to go back to our little setup here. So it's looking really pretty so far like this. These are the angels here. This is the star. It's going to say story of Jesus over here. This is the baby Jesus and the lamb in the little city of Bethlehem, and a manger or a structure of some sort right there. So I have not finished any of this yet, but what time is it? Oh, we're doing good on time. Sometimes I'm a little, I didn't know if this would be too detailed for y'all, but I think it's going to be just fine. And I'm going to go darker in here just to get the shape of that lamb to stand out more. And I think that'll look good. So that's, let's go back to zoomed in. So that's looking good. I'm going to add some more darker areas right underneath and start chiseling out the lamb's chest area and this is why I think some people don't like watercolors. Look at how long it's kind of taken me to get to a darker um, contrast. And I think that's why sometimes people are like, oh, you know, mine doesn't ever turn out right. And I think the problem is that people are impatient. I'm just going to add some darker areas. I don't know if that's like shadow on one side of these buildings. Or we'll just put them here and there and it'll look good. Right? It'll look good. Overall, it's going to look good. Might add a little bit more burnt sienna. And I might go down the side here. There. Did you see what I did there? Probably not. There we go. And I add a little bit more shadowing on. And sometimes I like to get kind of bold with my shadow color. Look at that. Just adding some blue. And maybe a little bit in there. Because even if it's not a perfectly rendered picture, you know what it is. You know it's baby Jesus. And you know that's a lamb. You know that's a city back there. And that's kind of what's important, is that you're just getting the feel of this. I think that's what's important. And if you go too dark, just lift it and it'll be fine. If you lift, it's fine. There we go. So that's looking pretty good. So what are your guys' plans for Christmas? Do you guys celebrate any kind of traditions? We always go cut our own tree down every Christmas, so that's kind of fun to go do. So now I'm looking at this whole thing. I like the sky. I think the sky is good. I don't know. I feel like maybe I could go a little darker, and I might use my white gel pen. Either that or I'll leave it this and use this color. I don't know. Trying to think, what should I do? What should I do? But you know, this pen, I'm gonna try and hold it kind of loosely because I don't want it to be too strict, like too perfect. I want it to be kind of soft and loose. So now, you know, this is still kind of wet. And sometimes when the paint is still wet, it's kind of neat to do this pen work because then it kind of blends into it. I think I'm just gonna go for making this. And I'm just gonna keep making that kind of light in there. And I'm gonna do these little eyes, little nose, little eyebrow. And then going around. Again, real soft and gentle. I don't want it to be weird looking. I'm gonna do this. And then the Bethlehem. This is just like how I do line and wash, which I told you is kind of like wash and line. And this is not a technical wash, but it's pretty light. Now I do some darker windows. Do some distinction. That looks pretty good. I don't want it to be too realistic because we're trying to keep this very loose. So now we're gonna do my angels with their wings, their little heads. And I'm keeping them kind of loose as well. You know, they said they were very afraid when they saw the angels, and it was like, well, how scary were the angels? All right, Isaiah. I told you guys I'm going to read it out loud. Isaiah. You can see what I'm writing. And some people don't like their own writing. I don't mind it sometimes. I'm trying to keep this kind of messy loose. That's just what I like. It's looking pretty good. Actually, it looks pretty good. These are like little hillside in the background. I'll go back to this. Don't think I'm gonna do anything with the star except put some white in there. And I'm gonna move this. I don't know because it's really so something. And I did write this, but now it's pretty much gone. Pretty much gone. Let's see, where did I have it? Right about here, maybe. See, sometimes my pencil lines go away. Like, what happened? So there we go. But you can play around with your own script sometime. Did I take a class on it or I just got a book about it? How to do the faux hand lettering. So I'm not sure if I'm even that great with it, to be honest. Did I make my E too far that way? Probably. That's okay. I wish I hadn't, but that's okay. I make this a little bigger. Can you see what I'm doing? I can zoom in so you can see what I'm doing. But this is the part that always stresses me out anyways, because it's like, do I know what I'm doing when I start to do this lettering? But no, the answer is no, I do not. That looks okay. could do better. Maybe next time I'll sketch out that a little harder so I can see it after I paint. And then the word story is up here somewhere. I've lost it, which of course makes it really hard. Story, I think it's right here. Story. I think this is where the of. It's still really wet in there, so it's not working that great. But see, then I go back in. And some people use like a calligraphy pen. I don't. I have this little gel pen. That's all I have. But I kind of know what I'm doing a little bit with it. I make this a little darker. Make this a little darker. Make this thicker. You can go back and look and just hold it up and say, what does it need? It might need something. Sometimes I turn the T's into crosses. There we go. It's getting there. Takes a minute to really fill that in. But there we go. Let me see if I can show you the whole thing. So that's a story of Jesus, and I might fill this in, make it thicker. I kind of like how it's messy. But this needs to be thicker. So you can really do whatever you want. This is yours. If you're following along and painting your own baby Jesus, you can do what you want. And if you don't like it at all, just start over. This is a sketchbook, so it's really not too difficult. I go in with my gel pen now and do, although that's not working as good. Sometimes my gel pen dries out, my white gel pen. But here's some white. Do some of this. But I think y'all must be busy. Y'all busy? I know I'm feeling the busyness right now. And I'm gonna push this around. I just put a little dot on there of white. And I'm just gonna make that kind of like a cross on there, which you can't even tell because it's like, it's so subtle. It's so subtle. Let me see. There's a up close kind of it. And I kind of like it. I think it looks good. I think it's okay. Let's see. That's a little better like that. So, story of Jesus. And I know there's lots of places in the Bible that you can start reading. They do say if you're doing an Advent study of the birth of Jesus, you can read the book of Luke, like a chapter a day in Luke. But I want to pull up my phone and read it to you from Isaiah 9:6. So it starts off, and I'll just well, you can see that instead of my face. It says, for to us a child is born, to us a son is given, and the government shall be upon his shoulder, and his name shall be called Wonderful Counselor, Mighty God, Everlasting Father, Prince of Peace. Of the increase of his government and of peace there will be no end, on the throne of David and over his kingdom, to establish it and to uphold it with justice and with righteousness from this time forth and forevermore. And it says, the zeal of the Lord of hosts will do this. So there's definitely studying the promises of God is really encouraging, because he makes the things happen that he promised. And so I know, reading my Bible, that I can learn what his promises are and how he's going to fulfill them. So there's signs all around us that encourage us to trust in him. And I believe that. I believe that this season of Advent, that we can take time and just slow down a little bit, maybe 10 minutes a day, and just trust that God's got a word for us from his Holy Bible, and that we can study something and learn something new about him. So I do pray that you each can find some time this Advent season and just let the word of the Lord dwell in your heart and encourage you. So I do hope you all have a blessed day. I love you. I pray for you. And I will see you next time. Mwah.